Hello and welcome to Book Club on the Go, the podcast where we explore one book at a time. Today we're diving into the book Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. This book was first published in 1984 and has since become a classic in the field of psychology and marketing. The book is based on Cialdini's extensive research and personal experience in the field of persuasion, and it covers the 6 universal principles of persuasion that he has identified. The book has received widespread acclaim, with many experts praising its insights and practical applications. Cialdini identifies 6 main principles of influence: reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Each one of these principles is based on a basic human tendency, and Cialdini explains how they can be used to influence and persuade others. For example, the principle of reciprocity is based on the idea that people feel compelled to return favors. So, if someone does something nice for us, we feel a sense of obligation to do something nice for them in return. Cialdini gives examples of how this principle can be used in real-life situations, such as sales and fundraising. Another principle is the scarcity principle. This principle states that people want things more when they're rare or hard to get. So, if something is scarce, people will value it more and be more likely to want it. Cialdini gives examples of how this principle can be used in advertising and pricing. The principle of authority is based on the idea that people will obey authority figures. So if someone is seen as an expert or authority in their field, people will be more likely to listen to them and follow their advice. He gives examples of how this principle can be used in politics and advertising. The principle of consistency is based on the idea that people like to be consistent. So, if someone has made a commitment, they will be more likely to follow through on it. The principle of liking is based on the idea that people will be more likely to say yes to someone they like. So, if someone is likable, they will be more likely to be able to influence others. The principle of consensus is based on the idea that people will do things that are consistent with what other people are doing. So, if people see that others are doing something, they will be more likely to do it themselves. Cialdini gives examples of how this principle can be used in advertising and fundraising. Here are a few examples of how this principle works in real life. A charity organization might use the principle of consensus by showing potential donors the names of other people who have already donated. This helps create the impression that giving is something that many other people are doing. Reciprocation: a company sends you a free sample of their product in the mail, and you feel obligated to buy something from them in return. The principle of reciprocation states that people feel obligated to return a favor or to repay a debt. This is why businesses often give away free samples or gifts, or why politicians often offer something in return for a vote. Commitment and consistency: a political campaign gets you to sign a petition supporting their candidate, and you are more likely to vote for that candidate. The principle of commitment and consistency states that people are more likely to stick to a decision if they have publicly committed to it. This is why companies sometimes ask customers to sign a contract or make a deposit before purchasing a product or service. Social proof: a restaurant is crowded, and you assume the food must be good, so you choose to eat there. The principle of social proof states that people are more likely to conform to the actions of others in a given situation, especially when they are unsure of what to do. This is why you often see people in a crowd all heading in the same direction, or why businesses use customer testimonials to promote their products or services. Liking: a salesperson is similar to you in some way, and you trust them more and are more likely to buy from them. The principle of liking states that people are more likely to be influenced by someone they like or perceive as similar to themselves. This is why politicians often use personal anecdotes and storytelling to connect with their audience. Authority: a doctor or a police officer is dressed in a uniform, and you trust them more and are more likely to follow their advice. The principle of authority states that people are more likely to obey those in positions of authority, such as doctors, police officers, or teachers. This is why scammers often pretend to be representatives of a government agency or other authority figure in order to trick people into giving them money or personal information. Scarcity, a limited time offer or a sale that is ending soon, makes you feel that you need to buy something before it's too late. The principle of scarcity states that people want what they cannot have, and that items that are rare or difficult to obtain are perceived as more valuable. This is why companies often use limited time offers or limited edition products to create a sense of urgency and drive sales. This book has received widespread acclaim, with many experts praising its insights and practical applications. Here are some reviews of the book. A book that should be on every marketer's bookshelf by the New York Times. A must-read for anyone in business or anyone who wants to be more persuasive by Forbes. A classic book on persuasion that is still relevant today by The Ink. A must-read for anyone interested in understanding the psychology of persuasion by the Huffington Post. That's all for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed our discussion. Remember, this podcast is all about exploring one book at a time. If you want to dive deeper and gain a better understanding of the book, we recommend picking up a copy and reading it for yourself. Make sure to tune in next week when we'll be discussing another book. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us reach more book lovers like you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until next time, stay curious.